Now we will move across the Tasman to the Adelaide Oval, where very interesting test is also set to take place at, I think it's 5:30 New Zealand time Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock local kickoff. The Springboks playing the first test in Adelaide for, well, the Wallabies playing their first test in Adelaide since I think the 2003 World Cup, or very, very shortly thereafter. We said on the podcast last week, Paul, we were very surprised to see a price above $2 next to South Africa.
Well, that's gone.
That did not last long.
That has gone.
The odds have done almost a 180 now. South Africa $1.52, Australia $2.60.
Good, well done. If you jumped on north of $2.
Yeah, no, like with Counties Monaco last week, if you got the $3.10, couldn't quite get the job done.
Didn't get the job done, but you're ahead of the game. Yeah. And if you took the plus 7.5, that was one of the worst beats of all time. We'll get to that a bit later, though, I guess.
Yeah. But you're feeling very good if you took the $2.30 available for the Springboks for this game now, Paul.
Very, very, very happy.
Even though Jacques Nienaber coming for a little bit of criticism from the Republic because he's sticking with the bomb squad on the bench strategy. Stephen Kitsoff, Malcolm Marks, most notably in the 16 and 17 jerseys. Joseph Dwayne gets another start in the number 2 jersey. Dwayne Vermeulen keeps a spot at number 8, despite the struggles the Springboks had early on at Ellis Park. Do you think they may be giving the Wallabies a bit of an opportunity to get their way into the game here like they did with the All Blacks?
No. Unfortunately for the Wallabies, they've just got injuries all over the place, and Hooper's still not back either. So this is an understrength Wallabies side, and I know the Springboks have a poor record in Australia.
They haven't won there in about 8 years.
They have a poor record in Australia, but I don't think the Wallabies have the depth to cover all the bases that they need to take it to this Springboks team. They'll be hurting as well because they lost their last test. The Springboks be wanting to get back into it. Mr. Lukanu Samayam back in the 13 jersey.
Thank you.
And playing in the midfield as well.
Warwick Hallant's been named on the right wing. Yeah. They've ditched the 6-2 split as well. 3 backs on the bench this week, which you often see when Elton Jantjies is in the squad. So he's there along with Francois Steyn and Jaden Hendricks that goes back to the bench.
Plus Faf.
Faf
back in the Niger. There's another big plus for the Springboks. And I guess in terms of, even though that record is poor in Australia, I cannot see this team getting beaten by just the team that the Australians will be putting together.
I mean, there is a video of us on YouTube from about a year ago saying the same thing ahead of the test on the Gold Coast, where Quade Cooper sprung out of the stands and made us all look very silly. But
He won't be springing out of the stands.
No, that's the thing, right? No Quade Cooper, no Samu Karevi, no Michael Hooper. Possibly the Wallabies' 3 most influential players there. I think we'll see a performance from the Springboks here very similar to the third test against Wales. It was almost like the second test against New Zealand, the second test against Wales. They had their fun. They tried a few things, didn't necessarily work out. So we're just going to come out and put down a marker early. They didn't shoot out of the gates because the Springboks aren't. That's maybe, but they were in second gear the whole time, just grinding their way across the pavement, putting that Welsh pack, which is a very good pack, into the ground. And
the change in the makeup of the bench as well is a sign that the Springboks, I think they rate the All Blacks pack a lot higher than they do the Wallabies pack, and I think they believe that they can, nullify any sort of ascendancy the Wallaby pack may have by only having the 5-3 split on the bench. So
they don't feel like they need to have the extra second rower in there.
Big boy.
Yeah. And that's before we mention, I said to you just before, the Wallabies, they've haven't led at halftime in any of their last 8 tests, and the one that they weren't behind in it was a tie. So they're not exactly the quickest out of the gates. They're not out of the gates.
No.
I don't think the Springboks have to worry about them getting too far ahead of them to catch up. It is. I am the record in Australia and a few little things here and there. I think we'll see a very sort of typically South African performance here. Get the job done. Probably they'll kick the penalties when they need to. Andre Pollard will just take control, and he'll say, "Listen here, boys, we're not going to do anything silly."
Raf de Klerk, he's a huge addition for the Springboks.
And underrated defensive addition as well, the way they use their 9s and wingers as snipers with no Cheslin Colby. He'll be pretty instrumental in getting up and stopping the Wallabies from going wide. So I do think they'll be able to keep the Wallabies in a fairly tight rein, maybe not run away with it. That's why I'm sort of got my eyes on the 1 to 12 for a best bet here. South Africa 1 to 12 is currently $2.35, and then you've also obviously got the rugby union bonus back in play as well. Should South Africa shoot out to 13 plus, but I do think they'll be pretty happy just to get out of Adelaide Oval with a win, and then maybe like the All Blacks do a bit of more experimentation in the second test in Sydney a week later.
Springboks 13 and over. This could be a cricket score in South Australia.
Could be a cricket score.
Could be a cricket score.
That's bold. I like it. Is that your best bet?
Yes.
$10. Wow. No.
Yes.
Yeah. We're putting a curry bab on it.
No, we're not putting a curry bab on
a
it.
curry or a kebab.
We're on the same team. We're just on different margins.
That's fair. Yeah, no, we can just both, we'll hopefully at least.
Let's enjoy it.
Yeah, no, we'll just enjoy it. No, yeah, I am, cautiously optimistic South Africa, the Wallabies can at least keep it close. I think just having like Reece Hodge, it sounds like he's going to start in that fullback. He's not going to provide a lot of X factor, but he's not going to gift South Africa tries like did happen in San Juan in the second test against the Pumas. But I bet he's going to be put under a lot of pressure. We know the Springboks love to put up the kicks, and they did it against the All Blacks. It's going to be the same. Him and I think Andrew Callaway should be back on the right wing as well. Another big in for the Wallabies. But
Callaway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's a very, very intelligent player. The way he played against England when he was forced to move around the back line in that first test, I mean, it was only a very small sample, but I think having him back there will be huge. Yeah. What about Noel Lalisi? I suppose he's one of the bigger talking points for the Wallabies. Can he? I thought he was pretty good, especially in that first test against England. Like, I don't really know why Dave really seems to have it in for him. The Brumbies, he was great for them all season. There's that Brumbies connection in the coaching staff now with Dan McKellar being one of Dave Rennie's assistants. Do you think he's got enough to put the Broncos under a bit of pressure and stress that defense that can be so good when it's on?
I do think he's better when he doesn't have the pressure of taking shots at goal.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, I don't know if it bears down on him a wee bit more, or if he misses the first one, it sort of affects his general play as well. But he does have talent.
Oh, yeah. And getting to play next to Nick White, who they have that connection from the Super 12, Super Rugby together, that's only going to help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's really underrated. Like, there's sort of this big gap. And
he deserves a spot there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if they're just Bernard Foley straight back in and he was starting again, you'd have to be pretty gutted for him personally. But I think you're going to see some other selections that are more designed to nullify the Springboks from the Wallabies. I think Jed Holloway will stay at the 6 jersey, another big body there to sort of try and match up with that big pack. Interested to see what they do with the two tight heads. Does Taniela Tupou get the start, maybe keep him away from Stephen Kitsoff in that Springbok rotation? So maybe try and get the Wallabies off to a faster start there, or because I think if you've got Alan Alatoa coming off the bench, he can sort of nullify the effect of Stephen Kitsoff at scrum time when he is on the park. But yeah, both two good options there. It's more of a mentality thing with Dave Rennie there. So yeah, I don't think the Wallabies will be completely disgraced here, but
I just think the Springboks are going to be very, very good.
No, but I think in some ways it's like the Springboks' perfect game would be if they won 22-6, and that would be 13 plus. But they'd rather the Wallabies didn't score any tries than they scored 6. Sort of thing.
I'm sure they'll be focusing on their defense after what happened at Ellis Park. But and I think, as you say the last 8 tests, the Wallabies haven't had a lead.
No.
So I think the Springboks are quite happy having the bomb squad come on later on.
Mm. And I do think after that they seem to fade late on at Ellis Park, you won't be seeing any of them come on the 28th minute. It might be just before halftime, but it won't be much before halftime, because that effect of having the bomb squad will sort of diminish there, where they do get to the lead and then the air starts to be blown out of them a little bit, and Malcolm Marx can't quite do his Malcolm Marx things in the last 5-10 minutes of these games.
He'll be doing it. He will be doing it.
So, right. Well, my value bet's along the same sort of line as you there, because I'm going into the first scoring play exact market. I'm taking South Africa try at $4.80. I know I've said I think they're going to score in threes here and there and be happy to pick it up, but just the price there, it's twice the price for a try as a penalty. And they've got plenty of, maybe my boy Lacania will get his hand on a ball. And
I'm glad you bring him up, because I've got him as an anytime try scorer.
I would love to see that. Yeah, you remember you could have drafted him second overall in a player draft last week, but you chose to take Malcolm Marx instead. That was your decision. I think having him back in the midfield will be huge, especially defensively. But the guy's always around the ball, right?
He is. He's very, very involved.
He makes things happen, and it's like all this little stuff you don't pick up on straight away. So
not so much when he's out in the wing.
Well, I mean, he was like, it might be the best right winger in the world anyway. Well, I think he had the most like run meters by a Springbok in any game against sort of like non-tier 2 nations ever, sort of thing. So it was still a huge performance. I just think, especially defensively, he had so much more in the middle of the park there. So what is Lacanio anytime try score value bet for the game?
Yes.
Nice one. I'll be chucking that in a few same game multis. I think, yeah, maybe it's just South Africa to win, so I don't have to stress out and then what are you, Lacanio and Joseph Dweba anytime try scorers?
I was just going to have the Springboks head to head as my same game.
Fair enough.
Multi-leg, but yeah, throw Lacanio in there as well.
I think Rassie and Jacques Nienaber have probably had Dweba strapped up to some sort of line-out machine for the last 2 weeks. He's just been working on getting the ball straight. Like, you know, in terms of work-ons, that'll be like, they know they need to be able to keep him out on the park longer to keep Malcolm Marks fresher for that little bit extra. So I'm sure the line out, obviously not anything untoward, but that will have been stressed at training, and I'm sure we can see a better performance there. And the Wallabies looked, shall we say, vulnerable at maul time against the Pumas. So the Springboks have a pretty efficient rolling maul when it gets going. I think, you're not going to feel too bad about Dweba there. So I'll happily have a go at that one. Anything else you want to add from Adelaide Oval before we get into the best part of the show? If you're a Bunnings NPC tragic like me,
no, just looking forward. I'm looking forward to a nice daytime test around this part of the world, sort of thing.
It is going to be awesome. I mean, it's great for us. I know some of our friends in South Africa aren't so thrilled about having to get up at 5 o'clock on the Saturday morning to watch the test.
That was us like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. We do that pretty much 4 times a year. But if you are watching from South Africa, how are you guys feeling ahead of the test? I know last year there was a few people saying, don't get so carried away when we're previewing the first Wallabies Springboks test. Are you thinking the Wallabies could put up a fight, or you're just expecting back to normal from the Springboks there? I'm interested to know what the mood is in the Republic, because I know they weren't probably thrilled with a few of the tactics used by Jacques Nienaber and co in their Ellis Park test.
It'll be business as usual.
We'll be together on Saturday evening at the New Zealand Darts Masters, so I'm sure there'll be some sort of...
We'll be watching intently.
Yeah.
With a few tickets in hand.
Yeah, 1 or 2 maybe. Yeah. That does us for the Rugby Championship for this week, though. We'll be back next week to break down all the action that happened so far and preview the second tests from Hamilton and Sydney, respectively.